across a book when I was about 10, 11, called in the library in the adult section, called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie.
Ah.
And I saw the title and I thought, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Hang on. If I could do that, then they're not going to bully me. Seemed the obvious answer. So I got the book and I read it. And what I very quickly discovered is that the contents of the book, whilst they may have sound psychological basis, and they do to a degree, and whilst they may work reasonably well for adults, using them on other adults, they don't work at all well for an 11, 12-year-old trying to use them on other 11, 12-year-olds to stop themselves getting bullied. In fact, if anything, it actually makes matters worse. So that didn't help. But what I did notice when I took the book back to the library, its contents having spectacularly failed, that in that same section, because I saw it in the section next to where the magic books were, the sports and pastime section had the magic conjuring books in, and next to it was the psychology and self-help. And I noticed a book by a guy called Emile Coué, C-O-U-E, a French guy, no longer with us, dead years ago, but he's very famous for coming up with the saying, day by day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. He was kind of the guy who came up with the idea of giving yourself positive thinking, self-affirmations to help program yourself to think positively so that positive things will manifest in your life. I suppose you could classify it as being he planted the seed years ago for what in more recent times has grown into what people call the law of attraction, the secret, and all that kind of I was going to say bunkum, but it isn't bunkum. It works if you use it right. The trouble is, these books that are out there that make millions of dollars and pounds for their authors don't quite explain it right, or people don't understand it and use it right, because if they did, then the kind of self-help publishing industry will be out of business because people wouldn't need to buy any more books.
Yeah.
And yeah, actually the self-help publishing industry is growing every year and is a multi-billion pound industry where people buy books again and again and again, which kind of tells you that that means that either A, what's in the books doesn't work, or that the people who buy the books don't put it into action right, or they do put it into action right, but then it seems like too much effort, so they give up doing it.
Yes, it's funny that you mention all that. Yeah, exactly. But I there's a YouTuber called James Janney, and he exposes a lot of like pyramid schemes and a lot of sort of things with law of attraction as well, and like gurus. And one of the things that they play on is that people get this sort of high that you get from drugs that makes them keep getting it, and so they feel like they're progressing, but there's no concrete results that they're progressing or getting what they want. And exactly what you said there, yeah. I mean,
Yes.
they would be poorer if what they said worked, because then they wouldn't need to buy the products.
Well, but the thing is, what they say does work in essence, but it doesn't. They don't tell. They tell them enough, like you've just said, to kind of get that short-term high or feel-good factor, but with no long-lasting kind of results. So they have to buy the next piece of the jigsaw and the next piece, and they may or may not ever piece it all together. Whereas if you're told all the bits of the jigsaw and shown how to fit them together, then you won't need any more books. You won't need any more audio cassettes, compact discs, downloads, whatever, because you would already have all those abilities within you to be able to then utilize them, adapt them to whatever context or situation in your life. And most of the self-help industry, personal development industry, is a lot like religion, really, structured to keep people dependent and coming back. And I really don't agree. I really don't agree with that at all.
Yeah, it's basically sharks. Effectively, they're preying on vulnerable people. I don't know, someone who's been bullied or down, and they think, "Oh, I can't do this," but they give them that hope, and they keep them hooked.
Yeah, And lots of these gurus, I call it gurus. I mean, it's ironic because my website's magicalguru.com. But all the word guru means is teacher. And the truth is that if you teach somebody properly, it should be like, and I'm not in any way religious, but it should be like that biblical saying, teach a man to fish. Give a man a fish and he feeds for a day. Teach a man to fish and he can eat every day, kind of thing. It should be like that, but they don't teach you how to. I'm going to use the metaphor. They might teach you to fish, some of these gurus, but only in certain kinds of water. They don't tell you about having to use different baits in different waters or different techniques in different situations. No, you'd have to come back for a different course for that or a different book. No, just give people what they need in the first place is what it should be. And we'll get to that briefly because along my journey, I was seeking answers. And Dale Carnegie's book didn't work, as I said, but I ended up noticing this Emile Coué book, and there was, as well as his affirmations, there was a technique in there called the law of reversed effort. And in a thing called NLP, they term it what resists persists, or they say you get more of what you focus on in life. And this is why a lot of so-called law of attraction stuff doesn't work for people, because they spend too much time thinking about what they don't want. So they don't want to be poor. They don't want to, be a failure in a certain area, rather than being focused on the outcome, becoming the successful individual or having more abundance of money. And if your mind is focused or allowing to entertain the ideas of the possibility of failure or it not happening, then that is going to create a bigger subconscious, unconscious, your personal neck-top computer mental image that's going to plant as a negative seed and grow bigger, just like the person who goes for a job interview, sitting in the waiting room thinking to themselves, I hope I don't mess up. I hope they don't ask me the wrong question. I hope I don't look nervous when I get in there. And what they're doing is giving themselves suggestions, actually, that they're entertaining the possibility that those things could happen. And by telling themselves those things could possibly happen, it is more likely they will go in there and screw up in some way and appear nervous and ridiculous. Whereas if they'd focused on, okay, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to breathe deeply and regularly, I'm going to be calm. All I can do is do the best, answer anything I'm asked honestly, and I'm either going to get the job or I'm not. Because the truth is, either my honest answers are going to be enough to get the job or they're not. Then there won't be anything to get stressed, worried, anxious, caught up on for the unconscious mind, our imaginations to blow up out of all proportion. So they're far more likely to actually be calm and relaxed and in turn to come across better and in turn